explore one of the most haunting depictions of war ever put into words, Randall Jarrell's poem, The Death of the Ball Turret Gunner. Written in 1945, this five-line poem captures the brutal reality of World War II and the devastating dehumanization of those who served in it. The ball turret gunner is at the center of Jarrell's narrative, a soldier confined in a small, crammed space, isolated from his crew, and surrounded by death. In the turret, he is described as being in his belly, emphasizing the inhumane conditions of this position. It's not just the physical isolation that we feel through Jarrell's words, it's the stripping away of the soldier's identity, as if his humanity is replaced by machinery. He becomes quite literally a part of the war machine. As you can see in this picture, this is an example of how the soldier is cramped. As you can see, his legs stuck to the wall with the two guns and the small sphere that is placed underneath the plane, which he's depending on the pilot to keep him alive, as I'll talk about later in the presentation. One line in the poem captures the core of the theme. This line, stated by Jarrell, says, "When I died, they washed me out of the turret with a hose." Here, Jarrell uses shocking imagery to illustrate the disposability of life in war. The gunner's death isn't marked by a ceremony or dignity, it is reduced to a quick and personal task. The line reinforces the poem's central idea that war turns soldiers into objects, faceless and replaceable. That task that I had just stated, or that Jarrell portrays throughout the poem, is the task of washing a dead body out of the spherical object right after he is killed during war, replacing like everything that he's done in war in one spray of the hose instead of having a ceremony, which is common to people nowadays. The horrors of air combat amplify this theme. Imagine being in constant danger, facing black flak and nightmare fighters, as Jarrell states throughout the poem. The imagery forces us to confront the vulnerability and terror that these young men endured. Yet it's not just the gunner who is dehumanized, it's also those who participate in and perpetrate the cycle of war, their actions becoming routine and mechanical. So, what he's saying is the people who participate in all these actions know what they're getting into and go about it as an everyday action like it's no big deal, even washing out a dead soldier, just going on with their day after their job is done. Finally, finally, Jarrell's poem leaves us with a sobering reflection on the lasting impact of such dehumanization. The turret's gunner's death is not just one life lost, it is a symbol of the countless lives reduced to tools of war, their identities erased, their sacrifices forgotten in the chaos that happens throughout the war. Throughout this poem, Jarrell compels us to reflect on the cost of war, not only in terms of human lives, but in the erosion of humanity itself. As you can see, one last time, he leaves us with the final image with this quote, "They washed me out of the turret with a hose." This represents the tragic and personal end of a soldier's life. This leaves the reader to just imagine the ending of a harsh life of a soldier in war, and just the thought of that's how they pay his respects, by just washing him out once he is dead. Thank y'all.